Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to do a first impressions video of Love Me for Who I Am by Kata Konayama. I bought this volume, I feel like at least a year ago, if not, close to a year ago, and read it and had a lot of opinions about it, which I did voice some of in my haul video or if I read it during a readathon maybe. I know I've spoken about it a little bit, but I fully intended to buy the second volume before doing a first impressions video. But here we are, a long time later, still haven't purchased the second volume, and there's probably a reason for that. And so I wanted to just chat about this first volume, my thoughts about it, and why I still haven't purchased any more of it. So Love Me for Who I Am caught my attention because it does feature a non-binary one of the main characters, and then it takes place in a maid cafe focused on or advertised as a cafe that is boys dressed like girls. However, we learn that there's a bit more nuance to that, and that some of the maids are trans women, and some of them are just boys who like to dress like girls for work. Some of them like to do it in their personal life as well, and there's just a mix of identities happening. So our main character is Mogumo, and she meets Tetsu, a male classmate, who immediately is like, hey, you should work at this cafe. I believe he's like a relative of the owner. And so he's like, you should come work for my family at this cafe. You're going to fit in perfectly fine. Like it's your people. And so Mogumo, who is non-binary and looking for other people who are non-binary and don't exist in that gender binary, who understand them, is very excited about this prospect, because they're like, oh my God, I'm going to meet other non-binary people. And that's not the case. They show up to find out that their classmate just thinks that they're a boy that likes dressing like a girl. And so there's a lot. This volume is Mogumo beginning to work at this cafe and running into a lot of bigotry and ignorance about their identity amongst the other staff. And it's about the other staff it goes into a little bit of their backstories and who they are and what brought them to work here and that sort of thing, which is all well and good, and it's fine. But I said this when I picked up this volume originally. The person who created this, at least at the time, I haven't looked at it recently, or looked at this title recently online, but at least at the time, the person who created this was upfront about the fact that they are not in the LGBT community in this way. They are not under the trans umbrella or the non-binary umbrella or any kind of thing like that. So this is not a known voices work, which doesn't translate to it being bad. It's not an automatic thing. I don't count works out just because they're not own voices. I can read something and make a decision whether or not I enjoy it. But for me, there were so many pieces of this story and the vibe and the language used and everything to me as I was reading it screamed at me that this was not being written by a trans or non-binary person, that it was written by a cis person. And it just kept taking me out of the story. It doesn't mean this is bad. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't read it. Just for me, it was blatantly obvious while reading it that this was written by a cis person. And it was not allowing me to just read the story, because I kept being distracted by that. And I can't remember, but I don't believe I knew going into this that it was not a known voices work. I think I didn't really know much about it other than that it had a non-binary main character, and I read it, and as I was reading it, I was very distracted by this feeling I couldn't shake. And then afterward, looking it up, I was like, okay, yeah, no, okay, suspicion confirmed. This is not written by a trans person. because I was hearing a lot of praise for this story at the time, and a lot of excitement about it, and so I, figured I'd give it a shot. And I can't pinpoint like one specific thing that bothered me about it. There were just a lot of little things. Something about this just didn't sit with me in a way that made me enjoy it. And so even though I told myself, oh, I'm going to buy another volume because I didn't hate it, I want to buy another volume, I want to read a little more, I want the characters to flesh out a little more. Maybe it was just, the beginning of it is a bit rough, but hopefully it will kind of find its stride. And maybe that's true. But I just honestly, this past year, I just can't be bothered to pay more money for this series. So that's why I'm making this video, finally, because I think I've just resolved myself to the fact that I don't think I'm going to buy more of this, unless it happens to be like really, really, really on sale. But I've put the second volume in my cart a few times, and then every time I'm like, nah, I don't want this right now. There are so many other things I want to buy, and this is not one of them. Yeah. The art is fine. It just... the characters felt very flat to me, because, I could, there are so many other stories I could read about trans and non-binary people, or so many other, or I could go and find, real people talking about their experiences, or, all of these things that are just so much more fulfilling to me than this is. And the characters just felt so flat to me, because they felt like this was some kind of weird, play that someone was putting on about, the archetypes of what trans and non-binary people are, and it just felt very robotic. And that's just me personally. I would really, really like to hear your thoughts if you've read this and you enjoy it, especially if you've read more than just the first volume. Because I am genuinely interested in this title as a whole, but I just haven't gotten past the block in my brain of I don't think this is very good. I really just don't think it's that good. Good enough to purchase more of it, unfortunately, because I think it just had so much potential in my mind. I guess I had built it up and had a lot of expectations for it. I don't know, but it certainly, whatever subconscious expectations I had for it, it definitely didn't meet them clearly. But yeah, it's a shame, because I really, really, really wanted to like it, and the fact that I held out from making this video for so long, because I kept telling myself I was going to buy the second volume and read it before I made this video, tells me at least how much I really did want to have good things to say about it. But yeah, it wasn't all bad. I think there's potential here. I just don't know if I care enough to find out if it reaches its potential in later volumes. So yeah. I would, like I said, though, like to hear your thoughts on the story, the characters, and yeah. Thanks for watching.